Banks Braves High School Athletics on Westside Mobile Media, presented by Jason Bond Remodeling. Also brought to you by these fine sponsors: Jim's Market, Sarah Hesselman Keller Williams Realty, Wana Credit Union, Banks Post Newspaper, Econo Fab Pole Buildings, GorgeNet Internet Service, Christy Van Meter at Caliber Home Loans, LaHaye's Custom Embroidery, Main Street Pizza, Oregon National Guard, Scoggins Creek Coffee, and Specialty Screen Printing. Now here's the play-by-play voice of Westside Mobile Media, Trevor Beard, alongside color analyst Jonathan Lee. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Banks Braves Volleyball. A very tight race for the top three teams in the 3A Coastal Range Volleyball League. However, Banks will not have a league match tonight. It is an off night for them league-wise. However, they will be hosting former league foe Astoria from when they were part of the 4A Kawapa League. Banks now dropping to 3A, at least for the next couple of seasons. Good evening, I'm Trevor Beard, voice of Westside High School Athletics. Very special night tonight at Banks High School. As you might be able to tell, we're wearing a little bit different attire tonight. That's because tonight is Breast Cancer Awareness Night. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we're going to have a moment of silence on the PA side before we switch back over to our broadcasting duties in about 3 or 4 minutes. Again, I want to thank all of our sponsors: Jason Bond Remodeling, Jim's Market, Sarah Hesselman, Keller Williams Realty, Christy Van Meter at Caliber Home Loans, LaHaye's Custom Embroidery of Hillsborough, Banks Post Newspaper, Wanna Credit Union, Main Street Pizza of Banks, Scoggins Creek Coffee with 2 locations in Gaston and Yamhill Carlton, Specialty Screen Printing of Yamhill, Gorge.net, internet service provider, EconoFab Pole Buildings, in likeness of you, Oregon and Oregon Army National Guard. If you want to find out more about how to be a sponsor of Banks High School Athletics, you can email us at westsidemobilemedia.net. Also check out westsidesgreatesthits.net, home of Westside's Greatest Hits and Oregon Trail Country, your home for great music, plus local news and information for Portland's Westside Tri-County area of Yamhill, Washington, and Columbia counties. We're going to step away now for just a moment and get ready for the public address side of tonight's duties. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. And we're set for tonight's match between the 4A Astoria Fishermen and the Banks Lady Braves. Corbett currently in first at 7-1. Banks and Yamhill Carlton tied for second at 7-2. Warrenton currently in fourth place at 5-3. Astoria in third place in the Coapa League, a 5-team league after losing Banks and Valley Catholic, but gaining Scappoose and St. Helens. Jonathan Lee will not be with us tonight, also will likely not be with us for football at Yamhill Carlton on Friday. Haley Evans will serve for the Braves on the west end of the court. Banks High School gym runs east and west. Left side of the court to our east. Right side of the court, west side of the court to our right. Astoria will be in their black uniforms, dark purple numerals with gold trim. Banks in their white uniforms, navy blue numerals, navy blue blank Banks lettering. Braves in gold lettering, very small above the Braves. The return from Astoria comes up short into the net, and it's 1-0 Braves off the first serve from Haley Evans. Returned by Astoria, Katie Rains. Evans to Walker, blocked back in the face of the Braves front line. Returned by Kaylee Fallour, and we're tied at 1. And the serve from Aspen Broughton for Astoria. Evans keeps it off the floor. Dumped over by Madison Walker beautifully. Found a hole in the front of the Astoria defense, and the Braves regain the lead at 2-1 in the first set. Serve from Katie Rains is picked up by the libero, Maddie Wilkin. Returned by Astoria. Evans diving down the far side near the students section to the southwest corner of the gym, and Braves couldn't get it up in the air high enough for a teammate to get under it, and it's tied at 2. Serve from Astoria. Evans near side to Janicek. Comes up with the return, dug out by Hankwitz. Returned by Grace Kindred, long, and the Braves regain the lead at 3-2. Apologize, may have a little bit of an issue with the Astoria roster. A lot of changes to the numbers from the OSAA printed rosters we have. Returned by Hankwitz, or by Kindred for Astoria. Walker to Van Aken, far side from out of bounds. Broughton sets it up near side for number 3, Kayana Martin, and the Braves have a 4-2 lead. Martin's return is long. Serve from Madison Walker for the Braves is an ace, and quickly it's 5-2 before we can even change the score. The Braves add another point off of serve. Walker serve kind of goes off the face of Kendall Hankwitz. Almost got her in the chest and went off of her face, and it's going to go out of bounds, 6-2. And the return from Astoria is short into the net, and it's 7-2 Braves, and Jeff Curtis may need a timeout. Serve from Madison Walker is short, but makes it across. Returned by Astoria. Evans back sets to Van Aken. Popped up by the libero, Maddie Wilkin. Wilkin returns it. Saunders comes up to the net to feed Evans. Back to Saunders on the return. Battle at the net is going to be an error, a lift, I think, on Kaylee Fallour, and it's 8-2. Serve again from Madison Walker, returned by Wilkin is long, and it's 9-2 Braves. Astoria below 500 with 6 wins and 10 losses. Banks winners of 7 of 8, 11 and 5 overall, and 7-2 in Coastal Range League play as that serve from Madison Walker ran out of gas into the net, 8-3. Serve from Astoria is way long that time off the serve from Kaylee Fallour. Side out back to the Braves, 9-3. You may be wondering why there's a lot of pink on the screen. October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and for the last few years, high schools around the state have been recognizing Breast Cancer Awareness Night with pink warm-up shirts, sometimes pink uniforms, and sometimes even auctioning off game-used volleyballs. And remember, one of our first years, they raffled off a volleyball for nearly $8,000. 10-4. Serve from Astoria. Evans sets up Saunders. Dumps it over the top, but Astoria recovers defensively. Over the top, dug out the back line by Walker. Battle at the net. Off the return is won by Haley Evans, and it's 11-4. Serve from Marissa Herbert for the Braves. Dug out by Astoria, returned by Wilkin. Far side, Van Aken dives to the floor, returned by Evans. Visser. Looked back across the net by Duryea, but long for Astoria, 12-4. Braves with the lead over the 4A Fishermen. And we have a timeout, Astoria. I knew one would be coming soon with this run. The Banks Braves went on to start the first set. Set number 1 midway through, Banks 12, Astoria 4. We'll take a 30-second break and be back after this from Jason Bond Remodeling.
Want to give your kitchen or bath a fresh new look? Jason Bond Remodeling has over 20 years experience fabricating and installing stone countertops and can upgrade your home with the countertops of your dreams without the dreamy price tag. They pride themselves on quality and customer satisfaction. They also offer cabinet installation and will do their best to beat any bid by 10%. Based in Washington County and will service most Portland area locations. For quality kitchen and bath remodels, call Jason Bond Remodeling at 503-430-0145.
And we're back, 12-4 Banks in the midway through the first set. Marissa Herbert serving from between the blocks, center of the key to our right. And Astoria plays it late, and then Wilkin and Meredith Visser look at each other and let it hit the floor. Again, the serve from Herbert just long by maybe a couple of inches. 13-5, side out back to Astoria. Serve from Grace Kindred is long. So after the Braves and the Fishermen trade points, Banks gets the serve back after the service error that goes long from Kindred for the Fishermen. Chesney Lovelady the serve for Banks. Returned by Wilkin. Herbert to Evans with the kind of 90-degree return. Kind of a spinning set return. Kind of a surprise play, but the point goes to Astoria as they're ready for it and are able to get it into the near back corner. 14-6. Wilkin the serve for Astoria. Herbert to Evans. Walker off the block of Aspen Broughton. 15-6 side out back to Banks. Serve from Haley Evans as the rotation is completed and starts again for the second time is an ace. Far back corner to our left on the southeast corner, 16-6. Again, the serve from Haley Evans this time is short, is across the net, but Astoria gets the return. Evans sets up Walker. This time, a little hesitation on her jump, and that one is into the top of the net, 16-7. Side out back to Astoria. Banks still in control. Serve from Broughton for Astoria. Van Aken to Evans. Back to Van Aken near side. Nice job by Wilkin. And Astoria comes up with the return. Incredible effort. Evans back to Van Aken. Popped way into the air that time. Nice job by Broughton for Astoria. And able to come up with the return out of the back row from Visser. Walker. Oh, Astoria. Incredible effort to keep it off the floor. Van Aken. Evans back sets to Van Aken down the line. Astoria probably should have let it go. Looked like it was going to be wide, but Kindred dives for it, and Astoria unable to keep it off the floor. 17-7, back to a 10-point lead for the Braves. Serve from Katie Rains, low. Kindred. And coming up a little bit gimpy, Kendall Hankwitz, right foot issue, comes up short into the top of the net, 18-7. I think we're going to have a quick, it's not going to be an official timeout, but the near side official is letting Astoria head coach Jeff Curtis take a look at Kendall Hankwitz to make sure she's, actually it's number 5, Taja Tuam. It is number 6, Kendall Hankwitz. Couldn't tell if it was a 6, a 5, or a 4. 18-7, Braves with the lead. Walker dumps it over far side Kindred. Broughton chases it down far side. Gets it back across into the back row. And misplayed by Maddie Wilkin into the back wall, 19-7. Again, Katie Rains serving for the Braves. Banks libero. Broughton. Returned by Astoria. Evans to Janicek across the net. Broughton for Astoria to Wilkin on the return. And Lovelady to Van Aken. Braves get it across. Broughton. Astoria returns it. Rains. Van Aken that time a little bit long. Almost all the way to the end line before it finally makes contact with the floor. Astoria finally getting a side out, still trailing 19-8. Serve from Kendall Hankwitz. Janicek, Lovelady, returned by a Walker. Wilkin diving to the floor for Astoria, returned by Kindred. Long, Astoria calling for a touch, and I don't think they are going to get it. 19-9. Hankwitz again the serve. Janicek near side down the line, returned by Walker. Wilkin to the floor. Broughton, and we're going to get a hitting error on Astoria. Braves get the side out back, up 20-9 late in the first set. Into the match for the Braves, number 12, Morgan McCraw. short serve. Chased down by Astoria. Returned by Broughton into the top of the net. 21-9. Again, the serve from McCraw. Dumped over by Broughton, and McCraw makes an effort on it late. Very close as to whether or not that ball would have been in or not. And unable to come up with a return for the Braves. Side out back to Astoria, trailing 21-10. Serve from Astoria. Kendall Hankwitz, I believe, returned by, actually it's not Hankwitz, it's Kaylee Fallour, number 12. She will immediately come out after her dive to the floor on the return. Comes up short, 22-10. Van Aken serve, Wilkin to Hankwitz, returned by Wilkin for the Fishermen. Evans sets up Saunders, dumps it over the top. Returned by Broughton, far side to Van Aken. Evans sets up Saunders, and just long, very close, but couldn't quite get the southeast corner, back right corner. And side out back to Astoria, trailing 22-11. Serve from Kindred for Astoria. Evans, Saunders, backhand return. Saunders dumps it over. Broughton to Kindred far side, blocked. Broughton again. Van Aken dives. Evans to Saunders, comes up just short. 22-12. Nice effort both sides that time to that point. 22-12, Braves a 10-point lead. Meredith Visser serving for the Fishermen. Saunders on the return for Banks. Broughton returned long that time by number 10, Fiona Duryea. Side out back to Banks. 23-12 late in the first set. Janasek will come out. Herbert in to serve for the Braves. Visser returned by Duryea. Herbert, Evans with the, again, backhand return. And Astoria not ready for a set point in set number one, with the Braves a 24-12 lead. Serve from Herbert for the set. Wilkin. Returned. Oh, and nice effort by the Braves, but Maller hits it into the bottom of the net. Janasek tries to chase it down, but can't get there in time. Side out back to Astoria, 24-13. Serve from Kindred for Astoria. Saunders far side, and Visser can't play it. Mishandles it, and the first set will go to the Braves, 25-13. We'll take a 2-minute break and be back after this from Jim's Market. Set number one goes to Banks, 25-13 over 4A Astoria. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Jim's Market in Banks is an institution serving the community for generations. They're actively involved in events and athletics from the youth league to high school level. Let them serve you with their locally grown fresh produce, fresh bakery items, including custom cakes, and quick hot food from their in-store deli. Jim's Market, conveniently located at the south entrance to Banks.
Thinking about buying or selling a home? Sarah Hesselman, Realtor with Keller Williams Realty, will help you with your real estate needs. Call 503-313-0748 or email Sarah at sarahhesselman.com. Serving your community daily and proud to support the starting lineup of your Banks Braves. Sarah Hesselman, Realtor with Keller Williams Realty. Call 503-313-0748.
Rankings are important numbers in determining Oregon high school playoffs. So are rankings when choosing a lender to help you with purchasing or refinancing your home. Our local community home loan expert, Christy Van Meter at Caliber Home Loans, is ready to help you win the day. Call Christy today for all of your home loan needs at 503-327-5302 or caliberhomeloans.com/kvanmeter. Christy Van Meter, NMLS number 1700271, state licensed in Oregon, an equal housing lender. All products are subject to credit and property approval.
Proudly serving our neighbors in Washington County since 1946, LaHaye's is your destination for locally made Letterman's jackets, custom embroidery for business apparel or a unique gift, and scouting uniforms and supplies. LaHaye's is on the corner of 3rd and Main in historic downtown Hillsboro. Open Wednesday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday, 10 to 4, and anytime online at lahayes.com or call us at 503-648-2341.
And we're back for the start of set number 2 as we get the scoreboard cleared out. Banks wins the first set 25-13, looking for their 12th win of the season, hoping to improve to 12-5. Kind of a hot streak, looking for their 8th win in their last 9 matches. Huge broadcast coming up on Friday night for football. Banks at Yamhill Carleton. Both teams undefeated. Winner of that game will likely be the 3A District 1 champion. Banks, Yamhill Carleton, and likely Warrenton. Banks and Yamhill Carleton, we pretty much know for sure, will advance to the state playoffs. Just 2 games left for Banks after Friday night. Home against Valley Catholic next Friday, and then at North Marion to finish the season on the 28th before state playoffs start in November. Serve from Astoria is returned by the Braves for the first point of the second set. Looked like number 12, Kaylee Fallour, slipped as she tried to dive to keep the ball off the floor, but couldn't get underneath it. 1-0 Banks in the second set, and Astoria comes up short into the bottom of the net. Returned by Aspen Broughton, but under the net, and that's illegal. 2-0 Braves, the lead in the second set. Serve from Haley Evans, low, but deep into the back row. And Kendall Hankwitz too far into the net, can't get it across. And it should be 3-0. Score is updated. Walker on the return. Hankwitz. Astoria gets it across. Evans out of the back row far side. Van Aken sets up Walker. Returned by Astoria. Saunders to Evans. Near side to Jordan Maller, and tipped. And Aspen Broughton couldn't quite jump high enough, and it's 4-0 Braves in control early in the second set. Haley Evans holding serve for the Braves. Far side, just left of the left low block. Returned by Wilkin near side for Astoria. Saunders to Evans, sets up Walker. Diving to the floor, nice dig that time by Aspen Broughton. Returned back across by Astoria, Kendall Hankwitz, I believe. And this time, I think either Jordan Maller or Katie Raines came up short, and Astoria finally gets their first point of the second set, trailing 4-1. Serve from Hankwitz, just inside the right side of the key. And returned by the Braves, and we're going to get a hitting error on Banks, back-to-back points for Astoria, trailing 4-2. Serve from Hankwitz is wide near the student section. 5-2. Pink out night on Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Serve from Katie Rains. Wilkin. Broughton. Sets up Kindred far side, and Saunders knocks it high into the back wall. Out of play, and the side out back to Astoria, trying to inch back in it, trailing 5-3. Wilkin from the near back corner for Astoria on the serve. McKenna King in the game for the Braves. Banks gets it across. Walker diving far side, or trying to chase it down. Didn't dive. Maybe that was the problem. Astoria, I think, kind of was thinking it was out, but regardless, couldn't get there in time, and it's 6-3 Braves. Serve from Walker is long. A little bit too much mustard on our hot dog at lunchtime, and side out back to Astoria, trailing 6-4. Serve from Meredith Visser. Rains for Braves. Van Aken far side. Walker comes up halfway down the far side line. Returned by Astoria. And Katie Rains dives. Evans dives a little bit too late for the Braves. And Banks unable to come up with the return. And now Astoria back within one at 6-5. Serve from Visser. King to Evans, returned by Saunders. Duryea able to chase it down. Astoria on the return. Evans racing up to the net to set up McKenna King. Kindred, returned by Wilkin out of the back row for Astoria. Evans sets it into the back row, but Wilkin is there. Broughton, far side to Kindred. Blocked and back. Astoria able to pull it back off as it spun off the net. Returned by Visser for the Fishermen. Rains to Evans. Sets up Saunders into the back row. Visser. Broughton, returned by Kindred far side wide. And Banks finally gets the side out after Astoria had scored 5 out of the last 7 points to pull within one. It's now 7-5 after the Braves get the side out. Wilkin couldn't get it up in the air, had her hands together and kind of just pushed it out instead of up. And it also goes a hitting error, 8-5 Banks. And serve that time from Van Aken is long, 8-6. Serve from Grace Kindred for Astoria. Van Aken diving, gets it across. Broughton blocked at the net, but they're going to get a hitting error on Alex Saunders. She's not in agreement with the call. I don't think Diana Erb is either. She's shaking her head. Regardless, Astoria gets the side out back within one at 8-7. Evans to McKenna King right down the back line. And side out back to Banks, leading 9-7, back to a 2-point advantage. Astoria, though, with a little more fight in this second set than they came out with for tonight's match, trailing by 10 most of the way before losing 25-12. Kindred, near side, and Herbert took a swing at it. I don't think she made contact. Luckily for the Braves, because that was about 2 or 3 feet long. Banks will keep the serve for Marissa Herbert, leading 10-7. Visser, and Kindred can't track it down after Visser made a play on it for Astoria just beyond the back line, and it's 11-7, back to a 4-point advantage for Banks. Serve from Herbert. Visser to Kindred. Returned by Durgay. Evans, near side to Maller on the return. Wilkin. Returned by Visser, short into the top of the net. 12-7 Banks. Now their largest lead of the second set after they scored the first 4 before Astoria went on a little bit of a run. Herbert to Kindred, and returned by Maller after a couple of Braves nearly collide, trying to keep it off the floor. Returned by Kindred for Astoria. Van Aken to Evans, sets up Saunders, blocked and into the back row. Astoria is not going to be able to play it. 13-7. We may have an Astoria timeout coming, and we do. Not sure why he didn't blow his whistle. Instead, just kind of made an X pattern with his hands. Near side official did not blow his whistle to recognize the timeout. Banks 13, Astoria 7, already up 1-0. Halfway through the second set, we'll take a 30-second break and be back after this. From Wanacredit from Banks Post.
Banks Post newspaper is the official news provider of West Side's greatest hits. Listen hourly for West Side news from the Banks Post newsroom. Banks Post newspaper covers Banks, Manning, Buxton, Roy, and surrounding western Washington County communities. If you'd like more information on the Banks Post or want to pick up a copy, visit a local business today. You can also visit their website at bankspost.com or their Facebook page, Banks Post.
And we're back following the Astoria timeout. 13-7 Banks in the second set. Banks had a 4-0 lead to start the second round before Astoria went on a little bit of a run and cut it to 1 at 6-5. Marissa Herbert holding serve for Banks. Back row, Visser plays it late. Broughton returned by Wilkin for Astoria. Herbert to Evans, sets up Saunders. Into the top of the net, and a little bit late on whether or not she wanted to push it over or use some power. And we're going to get a hitting error, or an error on Astoria though. And Banks will hold the serve up 14-7. So Herbert will keep her serve. Wilkin returned off the top of the net, and Van Aken couldn't get low enough in time. And she's gonna get her mitts on it, but can't get under any air underneath it. Side out back to Astoria, trailing 14-8 as the student section comes alive. Serve from Duryea is returned by Van Aken for the Braves. Kindred, far side to Hankwitz on the return. Mallard to Evans, sets up Saunders, center of the front row. Dumped over by Astoria. Evans this time near side to Jordan Mallard. Back row Duryea for Astoria. Broughton returned by Hankwitz for the Fishermen off the top of the net. Evans, surprise return down the far sideline. Astoria fans a look of bewilderment as to how that ball could have been in. They may have a case. However, the side out will go back to Banks, leading 15-8. Chesney Lovelady comes up well short. I think that one came off her hand a little bit funny. 15-9, side out back to the Fishermen. Jump serve from Broughton. Herbert dives and gets it across. Astoria comes up with the return. Van Aken back for the Braves. Maller and Evans. Chesney Lovelady tries to make an effort near the back line as the Braves scramble defensively. Back-to-back points for Astoria, trailing 15-10. Off the top of the net, off the serve from Broughton for Astoria. Too much that time for Madison Walker for the kill down the near side, near the front row. 16-10. Side out back to Banks. Nice to see Wade Evans, longtime sports editor at the Forest Grove News-Times, here in action tonight taking photos. Serve from the Braves is returned by Astoria. Walker and Evans slides to the floor, and that one's going to go into the near the student section. 16-11, side out back to Astoria. Serve from Hankwitz, far side, right low block. Evans sets up Walker. Dug out by Hankwitz. Returned by Martin for Astoria. Wilkin gets it across the Fisherman. And Banks too far under the bottom of the net. Evans no chance to pull that one back. And 16-12. Again, Astoria going on a little bit of a run to pull within 4. The serve from Hankwitz is an 8. Oh. Just a little bit long, apparently. Looked like it made contact with the back line. Again, a couple of Astoria fans sitting to the opposite end of our table beg to differ. 17-12. Serve from Katie Rains. Hankwitz. Broughton to Kindred, blocked. And Evans and Van Aken come up with the block, but neither one of them could get out of the way in time. And 17-13, Astoria again within 4. Nice job by Van Aken after Astoria, or after the Braves had nearly hit it into the bleachers. Walker, Evans out of the back row far side. Broughton sets up Kindred, blocked at the net by the Braves. Again, incredible effort. Madison Walker wins the battle as it's going to go off Hankwitz into the bottom of the bleachers. Far side, 18-13, side out back to Banks. That's some college level volleyball battle that time between Madison Walker and Grace Kindred for Astoria. Walker to serve. Kept off the net by Broughton, returned by Astoria. Walker to Rains. Van Aken far side gets it across for the Braves. Popped up back corner far side by Hankwitz. Wilkin across for the Fishermen. Van Aken near side to McKenna King now in the match. Broughton across by Duryea for Astoria. Van Aken. Broughton to Wilkin. Sets up Kindred far side into the back row. Walker. Evans sets up McKenna King. Has it go off the side of her hand into the net. And again, side out back to Astoria within 4. Already surpassing their point total from the first set of 12. Meredith Visser will serve for the Fishermen. McKenna King to Evans. Walker laid out of the back row. Gets a piece of the top of the net. Returned by Duryea into the back wall. Into the beyond the end line. Astoria calling for a touch. They're not going to get it. Banks back to a 5-point lead at 19-14. Serve from Van Aken. Visser. Broughton to Wilkin, across by Astoria. Van Aken to Evans, sets up Saunders. And misplayed by Kendall Hankwitz. Kindred can't chase it down near her own bench. 20-14 in the second set. Van Aken holding serve for the Braves. Hankwitz and Broughton slipped as it spun off the end of her fingers, but able to get out of the way. Astoria comes up with the return, but Saunders dumps it over for the point for Banks. 21-14, and I think we have a timeout, Astoria. Banks wins the first set 25-12, up 21-14, hoping to put the second set away soon as well. We'll take a 30-second break and be back after this for Main Street Pizza following this Astoria timeout.
Visit Main Street Pizza in Banks, located next to Jim's Market, for the best pizza in Washington County. From loaded hot baked subs to a Main Street special pizza piled high, we will satisfy your pizza cravings. We've been serving and supporting the Banks community since 1986. Open daily at 11 a.m. Call ahead now to place your order at 503-324-5858 or follow us on Facebook to see our daily lunch specials. Mention this radio ad and receive $2 off any Main Street Pizza.
And we're back, set number 2. Banks with a 21-14 lead in the second set, winning the first set 21-12. Taylor Van Aken to hold serve for the Braves. Into the bottom of the net, and Astoria can't pull it out as Broughton tried to chase it down, 22-14. Serve from Van Aken. Wilkin goes to her knee, and Broughton can't play it. 23-14. Banks about to put set number 2 to bed as well, 2 points away from going up 2-0. And, didn't miss by much. Van Aken's serve just a hair long, 23-15. Serve from Kindred for Astoria. Van Aken high into the air. Evans chases it down far side. Back to Van Aken, way along. Nearly got the back line. Judge, one of the Banks fans, back-to-back points for Astoria, 23-16. Again, the serve from Kindred is an ace, 23-17. 3 in a row for Astoria. Serve from Kindred near the basketball end line is going to go well wide that time in front of the student section. Set point for the Braves, 24-17 in the second set. Marissa Herbert will come in to serve, replacing McKenna King. Serve from Herbert, right to Wilkin for Astoria. Returned by Duryea over the top. Evans dives to the floor, but it's going to be just wide on the return to the near side. Side out back to Astoria, trailing 24-18. Serve from Duryea. Herbert, Walker, one-handed save. Across by Maller, but too much. And 24-19, Astoria battling back late in the second set on set point. Again, the serve from Duryea, and that'll do it as it came off of her hand funny, goes into the bottom of the net, and on a service error, Banks goes up 2-0, 25-12, 25-19. Again, we will take a 2-minute intermission and return with the third and hopefully final set when we come back. We'll be back after this 2-minute break from Scoggins Creek Coffee.
Scoggins Creek Coffee is proud to offer delicious hot drinks and delectable breakfast items too. Visit their 2 locations in Gaston and Yamhill Carlton. Open 7 days a week, Mondays through Saturdays until 5 and Sundays until 3. Make sure to ask about their weekly specials and visit their Facebook page. Scoggins Creek Coffee, 503-985-3483.
Specialty Screen Printing is the official non-apparel promotional product sponsor of Westside Mobile Media and have provided us with pens, stickers, magnetic decals, notepads, keychains, and recyclable grocery bags. Owners Ken and Linda Johnson have over 40 years experience to get the job done right. Locally owned and operated in Yamhill. Give them a call for your next screen printing project. 971-998-8274, 971-998-8274.
There's a new premier fiber internet provider in Vernonia featuring friendly and helpful customer service. Sign up with Gorge Networks today for symmetrical speed fiber internet, 300 meg or 1 gig speeds with managed Wi-Fi included in the low monthly price. No contracts or price increases. Refer a friend and get a free month of service. Make the switch to Gorge Networks today. Call 541-436-0223. You can also email us at sales@gorge.net.
Hey Brave fans, this is Chris Lyda, the voice of the Braves, here to tell you about Econofab Buildings. Econofab is a third-generation family-owned and operated pole building company located right here in Brave Country. Econofab has been in business for almost 50 years, constructing shops, garages, and barns. I had them build my 2 shops, and as a satisfied and repeat customer, I'm here to tell you that Econofab puts the fab in fabulous. Go visit them online at econofabbuildings.com.
And we're back. Start of the third set. Banks up 2 sets to none, 25-12, 25-19. An active student section tonight. Most of them wearing pink t-shirts that say Dig Pink. Warm-up shirts tonight for varsity. Haley Evans waiting for the go-ahead to start her serve. Volleyball with 3 matches left after tonight. They will be at Rainier, or at Warrenton on Thursday night. Again, a huge match, as that could clinch third place for the Braves, but with a win by Warrenton would move them within a half a match of Banks for third place. And then a huge match next week at home against Corbett, which will be senior night, and then next Monday actually, and then Wednesday at Rainier to finish the regular season. Serve from Haley Evans is picked up by Kindred, returned by Broughton wide into the Braves bench. First point of the third set belongs to Banks. Serve from Haley Evans, too much on that one. Tied at 1, side out to Astoria. Yamhill Carlton 11th, Corbett 15th, and Banks 16th. The rankings for the top 3 teams in 3A volleyball. Banks unable to come up with the return that time off the serve from number 7, Maddie Wilkin. Return by the Braves, 2-1 Astoria early in the third. Evans dives and can't get enough on it to get it to a teammate, and it's 3-1 Astoria. New libero for Astoria, Kendall Hankwitz, and Katie Rains misplayed it. I think she couldn't decide whether or not to play it or not until she was already in the way of the ball and looked like it was going to be long. 4-1, or again, I don't think the score is correct, showing 4-3. Wow. Off by 3 points, and Astoria should have had a 4-1 lead. Now it's 4-3. Serve from Katie Rains, returned by Astoria. Rains dives to keep it off the floor, and as we try to get the scoreboard straightened out, we think Astoria has a 5-3 lead. Serve from the Fisherman. Rains dives far side. Evans off the top of the net. Astoria able to play it, and Walker with just kind of off the reflex gets it high into the air off of diving Katie Rains, and Astoria with a 6-3 lead. Again, the serve from the Fisherman, short off into the top of the net from Banks. And now Astoria up 7-3 in the third set for Aspen Broughton. From the end line comes walking up to the back line, and the return from Saunders goes into the bleachers behind the far side net pole, and it's an 8-3 Astoria lead. Banks may need a timeout. Up 2-1, the serve from Aspen Broughton. Saunders goes low. Evans out of the net, back to Saunders, returns it from the back row. Wilkin. Evans, Walker for the kill, too much for Aspen Broughton. 8-4, Banks finally gets the side out, but needs to put a little run together here to try to stem some of this momentum from Astoria early in the third set. Serve from Madison Walker. Hankwitz returned by Kindred. Dumped over by Alex Saunders. Back-to-back points for Banks, 8-5. Serve from Madison Walker is low. An ace off of Aspen Broughton into the bottom of the bleachers. 8-6. 3 straight for Banks off the serve of Madison Walker. Hankwitz to Wilkin, far side to Kindred. Misplays it off the side of her hand. It's going to go underneath the net, and it's 8-7. Serve from Walker is off the top of the net. Tied at 8 for another ace. Again, the serve from Madison Walker. Wilkin popped up by Kaina Martin. Evans back sets to Van Aken. Blocked at the net, but Kaylee Fallour, nobody else there to help her out. She couldn't get out of the way, and it's 9-8 Banks. Walker serve from the far side corner, returned by Martin. Janicek comes up to the front along the near sideline, gets it back for the return. Wilkin Return by Martin off the top of the net. Evans to Van Aken, sets up Saunders. Just a little bit long. Tied at 9, back to Astoria for the serve. Kaylee Fallour well short. Side out back to Banks, leading 10-9. Van Aken to serve. And Astoria unable to get it across, goes into the net near the near side net pole, 11-9. Again, the serve from Van Aken, center of the key. Hankwitz to Wilkin, returned by Broughton for the Fishermen. Evans back to Janasek near side. Broughton chases it down from beyond the back line far corner. Evans sets up Walker out of the back row. Too much. Side out back to Astoria, trailing 11-10. And Grace Kindred will come in for Astoria, replacing Kaina Martin. Serve from Kindred. Rains for the Braves to Evans. Saunders is too long with her attempt, and we're tied at 11. Serve from Visser. Walker probably should have let that one go. Van Aken able to help her out, though, and Evans on the return. Wilkin to Duryea, and Van Aken barely able to keep it off the floor. Gets it to Saunders, but Walker can't chase it down, and Astoria again has the lead at 12-11 midway through the third. Walker to Van Aken off the serve. Rains on the return is long, 13-11. Astoria again going on a bit of a run. Meredith Visser, near side Katie Rains. Evans on the sneak return. Wilkin to Duryea. Van Aken, and that's going to go into the corner of the students section. 14-11 Astoria. Serve from Visser. Janasek far side to Evans. Sets up Janasek. Back corner to Hankwitz. Returned by Kindred. Van Aken to Evans. Saunders dumps it over. And still good at those sneak returns. And Meredith Visser unable to play at 14-12. Side out back to Banks. Serve from Marissa Herbert for the Braves. Visser to Wilkin, far side to Kindred for the kill off Marissa Herbert. 15-12, side out back to Astoria. Serve from Kindred, couldn't decide which hand to use, but still gets it across. Evans spins one off the top of the net. Duryea misplays it out of bounds far side. Side out back to Banks. Quickly off of the Astoria serve, 15-13. Alex Saunders attempt far side. Hankwitz chases it down. Wilkin return far side by Aspen Broughton, and Graves unable to chase it down, 16-13. Side out back to Astoria. Serve for Hankwitz. Rains. Evans, center of the back row. Van Aken gets it across near side. Wilkin sets up Broughton. Wide to the far side. Side out back to Banks. Again, trailing by 2, 16-14. Serve from Evans is short into the net. 17-14 Astoria. Maddie Wilkins started in the libero shirt number 15. Now wearing number 7. Jump serve is low. Saunders into her own bench. 18-14 and Astoria gaining momentum as they increase their lead heading into the later stages of the third set. Wilkin again off the serve. Saunders and Rains nearly come together. Walker too much. Down the near side line, inside the near back corner. Side out back to Banks, trailing 18-15. Serve from Rains. Kindred misplays it, but Hankwitz chases it down back to Kindred. Walker to Evans, sets up Walker off the net, but Wilkin able to play it. Returned by Kindred into the back row. Rains pops it up. Saunders, Janasek across for the Braves. Wilkin to Hankwitz. Out of the back row, Kindred across for Astoria. Van Aken sets up Walker, dumps it over. Near side line. And it's going to be in. A point for the Braves. Back-to-back points. Trailing 18-16. Serve from Katie Rains. Returned by Martin for Astoria. Janasek gets it across. Hankwitz misplays it near her own bench. 18-17. Serve from Rains. Kindred misplays it. And Martin can't chase it down. It goes into the bottom of the bleachers. Tied at 18 in the third set. Banks hoping to go on a late run here and put Astoria away. The serve from Katie Rains. Returned by Astoria, but partially blocked by Walker. Banks gets it back across. Broughton on the return for Astoria, far side. Rains and Saunders come together on the floor, but the side out and the point will belong to Astoria, leading 19-18. Long jump serve for Aspen Broughton, low, but Janasek out of the back row picks it up near side. Evans back to Janasek, just inside the near back corner, tied at 19. Walker's serve, I think she slipped or something and kind of halfway whiffed on the toss between the connection between the hand and the ball, and the side out back to Astoria, leading 20-19, as that one didn't even make it to the net. And serve from Kaylee Fallour is an ace. 21-19 Astoria. Again, the serve from Fallour is low. And again, Banks is on it, not ready for it, 22-19. And we're going to have a timeout, Banks, as Diana Herb has seen enough. She's up off the bench, and we'll take a 30-second break after this Banks timeout. Astoria about to sneak one away from Banks, leading 22-19 in the third. Banks still up 2-0. We'll take a 30-second break and be back after this from In Likeness of You.
In Likeness of You offers caricatures, face painting, temporary tattoos, indoor and outdoor games, arcade games, and even costume hero birthday events. Since 2013, they've even held corporate events for some of the biggest companies in the world.
For more information or to book your next party, go to inlikenessofyou.com, thebash.com, or call 503-858-0164. That's 503-858-0164.
And we're back 22-19. Astoria in the third set, trying to steal a set from Banks, who's up 2-0. Kaylee Fallour, Walker to Rains. Saunders, no, under the net. 23-19, Astoria now with a 4-point lead late in the third set. Serve from Fallour, Walker far side, out of the back row. Evans sets up Van Aken. Fallour. And Astoria comes up short. Was very close at the net. Both Duryea and Martin weren't sure if it was going to make it over or not. And it comes up short, 23-20. Side out, back to Banks. Van Aken, her serve is an ace. Hankwitz can't handle it, 23-21. Banks trying to battle back late in the fourth set. Serve from Van Aken. Hankwitz across off the top of the net. Evans sets up Saunders. And Astoria bumping it to each other, scrambling, but able to come up with the return back across by Van Aken to the Braves. Martin spun off the top of the net and couldn't quite make it across. 23-22. Banks coming back, hoping for a 3-set sweep. Serve from Van Aken. Hankwitz into the bottom of the net. And crossing the net is Wilkin. We're tied at 23 in the third set. Timeout, Astoria. Tied at 23 in the third set. Banks making a late run to try to avoid a fourth set. Tied at 23 with Astoria. We'll take a 30-second break and return after this from Oregon Army National Guard.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Oregon Army National Guard, aired by the Oregon Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Tied at 23, third set. Banks up 2-0, 25-12, 25-19. Serve from Van Aken. Wilkin near the scores table. And Astoria is not going to be able to chase it down. Match point for the Braves, leading at 24-23. Serve from Van Aken. Wilkin. Martin. And on match point, Duryea and Wilkin look at each other as it hits the floor. And the Banks Braves sweep Astoria 25-12, 25-19, 25-23. I'm Trevor Beard, voice of Westside Athletics. Again, our final score, Banks wins their 8th match in 9 tries with a 25-12, 25-19, 25-23 sweep of 4A Astoria, hoping to improve their ranking with a win over a likely playoff team against a team from a larger classification. Still about 2 weeks left before the final playoff seedings are determined, but still a lot of volleyball and league play left to be played, with Warrenton on the road on Thursday, Corbett at home
next Monday, and Rainier on the road on Wednesday before a league playoff will get underway. That'll do it for us. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. I'm Trevor Beard, voice of Westside High School Athletics. Good night and God bless.